Hello, YouTube and their crypto enthusiasts, and welcome to another episode of Equibit Crypto. Today, we are talking about inflation and how Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. And yes, I know, I told you in November or even before that Bitcoin is not a hedge against inflation, and I was right, and I'm going to be right again. Just let me play you this little clip of what we were talking about in November. But now let's get into the point of the video, which is inflation and why Bitcoin is not a hedge against inflation. So, if you want to know when Bitcoin is not a hedge against inflation, you should go back and watch that video. And if you want to know when Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation, you should stay put on this video. Because, to be honest, I would really rather talk about these sexy alt coins, these gaming coins, where we are going to get 100x, and we will get there. But for now, we need to understand the macro, because we need to know when we are going to buy these sexy altcoins. So right now, uh, inflation is surging. We have 7% inflation. And this have always been the Bitcoiners sort of like, oh, when we get high inflation, people will flock to Bitcoin. That is wrong. Because when we have high inflation, it's risk off. Everything sells off. Stock market, everything in anticipation of uh, interest rates going higher. So it's really a risk off scenario. And that is now. We are at the height of it. So Bitcoin is only an inflation hedge when you cannot increase the interest rates. That's when you want an inflation hedge because that means that interest rates is going to stay fixed at where it is and you can't do anything to fight inflation. You just have to accept it. That's when Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. So the big question is, have Bitcoin already corrected for this? Because we saw a huge dump, some sort of bottom, and now we're seeing the first really big bounce. We can open the Bitcoin chart here. We see we haven't seen a really strong bounce until now. Um, so was this the bottom? Maybe it was, but there is still risk because we are not at the top of the interest rates. This line here goes all the way back to the 80s, is have never been broken. We can go to the monthly, we can look at this. This is the 10-year yield. So that's been going steadily down since the 80s, and this line have never been broken. We are currently sitting 1% under this line here. And as we can see, every time there is an increase in the 10-year bond, it gets resisted by this line. So in my opinion, the best and safest time to buy crypto is when we come up here, hit this line and get a rejection. You don't need to buy it exactly as we hit this line. You can wait for a month or 2 months and see that it actually gets rejected at this resistance line. And by the way, now is your last chance to be among the first 1,000 subscribers of this channel, and that is going to be a good thing. It's going to be all right to be among the first 10,000, but to be among the first 1,000, that's going to be really great. We are currently missing four, so four open slots to be among the first 1,000 subscribers. So that's basically what you need to know when we hit this line here, buy crypto. And if we have a black swan event and come break through it and confirm the support, then get out of the market because then we might go higher on the interest rate on the 10-year US yield bond. So right now we see a big pump in Bitcoin, and this is probably because we're just about to run into some resistance here on the yield on the bonds. So most likely we are going to see a little bit of a rejection here and then come down and then come up and break this and go up to this line. And when the price go down here, or the interest rate go down here from the resistance, that is when crypto's going to do a little pump. But it probably is going to come up here and go up to this line because we are currently at 7% inflation. And they need to fight it. They need to keep pressuring the rates up. And right now, the Fed fund rate is still about 0%. So they've talked up the market rate on the bond, but they are going to follow through and they are going to keep pressing aggressively, and we are going to see this rate go all the way up here. I'm pretty sure of it. We might not go all the way up, but it depends where we face problem. But basically, what you need to know is if we come up here, it's pretty safe to buy crypto. If we get rejection, and also tech stocks. And then, of course, you need to have a stop loss and think, okay, if we break this for the first time in 40 years, then maybe it's time to get out of the market. So dollar cost average and don't go all in at once. And if we come up here and then come down, it's all good. The reason, if that's basically all you need to know, but if you're a nerd and want to know the reason, then you can stick around. The reason why we hit this or have this downward sloping resistance is because of the debt. It's because of the negative government spending. The government spend too much money. They spend money that they don't have, and they keep increasing and piling that debt. So this interest on debt is going to be a larger proportion of the tax income. So if you keep spending more money than you actually have, it's simple. I mean, you can afford to pay um, less and less in the form of an interest rate. So that is why this keep going down. Is because the debt is growing and the amount of money the government can afford to spend on debt is declining. So it's common sense. It's totally basic. So that's why we have this downward sloping resistance, because when we get to this point, then too much of the taxpayers' money is just going to pay interest. And that is why we can't really break this, because you will have to shut down the government. So at last, let's have a little bit of a look on Bitcoin and see where we are. We were in this channel here, upwards sloping channel, and we got a breakout from that channel. And I think we're just on target now as we run into resistance. Yeah, if we do that, you can see it met the target perfectly. So we got a little bit of resistance going here from this low here, and that's why we don't see a continuation of this pump. I'll have to say I did expect this to fall a little bit faster. We got a little bit of a doji going here today, but I do think that we are going to come a little bit down to test some of these support levels here and then probably have another pump to the upside. As much as I would like to be super bullish here and say that we get something like we saw back here, that we have bottomed out and now it's just blue skies, the macro is telling a different story, so that's why I am going to be careful. But as we can see, we were in this channel with resistance here on the red line. Green is support, and we can see that the target of this breakout, if it confirms, is about 50,000, which coincides perfectly with this resistance here. So I'm very, very certain that we are not going to pump over 50,000. And there is first a little bit of resistance here at this point, 44,000, and then another one here up at 46,000. And then the last one is 50,000. So if Bitcoin can reach 50,000 here, it really shows some strength, and that might indicate that the bottom is in. even if it can break this here, it shows strength. So for each resistance it break, it really show more and more strength. But the way I see it is that we are probably going to get rejected here at 46,000. We should move this down a little bit. Yeah, 46,000, and then stay inside this box here for some time. And then we will come back when we get closer to this um, long support line here from all the way back to 2015. We can have a look at that just quickly before we end the video. As we can see, this acted as support all the way back to 2018, 2015. We came under it during the Savesa dip, and it was resistant for a while and then become support, and now is the first time we test it. We got a little bit under it, but not too much, and now we pumped above it. So the question is, will this line hold? If this line hold, we're all fine. We're going to reach 100,000 somewhere in the very near future. So I guess that's it for today. And remember to subscribe and like the video, and stay hit that bell notification to get those notification about the gaming altcoins, which we are going to buy once this market really shows some strength. So that's it for today. See you all next time. Bye for now.